For me, it's a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon. In my case, good morning. Because I didn't say this. So as I've been told, I started to work with this indigenous group in 2009, almost 10 years ago. And I decided to continue for my dissertation. And the main objective of my dissertation is to study the meaning and the use of territory by Catuquina indigenous people. But today I will focus in one of the chapters, and for me it's really nice to have the feedback because I'm trying to complete a chapter. And something that I really kind of, I was impressed during the time that I was there with the Catuquina indigenous people, at many things I started to realize that had a kind of owner, but was something not so easy. They didn't start to talk, this thing has an owner, or like Paris, such as Paris, all things, and also territories, places. But I start to discover through the restriction, because especially women, they cannot go to some specific places because they have kind of owner, and the main goal, desire of the owner is to have the women. Because I'm gonna explain the concept that I'm using, okay? So in a general way, I asked today, so I'd like to know if every place has an owner, and they told me, yes, every place here has an owner. So this inspired me in my title. Every place has an owner, intangible beings, and Catuquina relationships in the gender appropriation, use, and sharing of territories in the Amazonas state in Brazil. So here, it's through illustrations during their ritual, and they have a special kind of code. In this case, they use Buriti, Mauritia flexuosa, it's a kind of palm. And the men, they stay in an arrangement that they can be facing their wives. In the case, there are the men, and here the women. And I put this illustration. It was by a Catuquina, and it represents, it's really important because it represents the animal, represents the kind of owner of the party. And something really interesting is because this kind of animal that I'm calling intangible being, are kind of, we can consider, Catuquina consider as animal, but the shaman perceives them as human. The shaman can see and can have communication with this kind of entity through the use of rapé, snuff, that they call obabim, and they use with tobacco and mix it with different kind of plants. So the shaman are responsible to kind of to intermediate this process of conversation with the owners. Okay. Today I'm gonna present two different aspects. One is one of my dissertation chapter, and after I'm gonna talk a little bit of some my experience during the TCD practitioner experience that I could do. I did last year, and also some future activities related with engagement and education with Catuquina indigenous people. So the territory, the name is Rio Biá Indigenous Territory, is located in Amazonas, the biggest state in Brazil. And to have an idea, I put this map. Here is the Catuquina, the Biá River territory, and it's located in an important corridor, ecological corridor, called Central Corridor of Amazon. And to have an idea how far it is, to go into the Catuquina territory, we can go from Manaus by boat, in a kind of quick boats, motor boats. We spent almost 1 day, this kind of, we call lancha, until arrive in Jutai City. And after, we need to rent another boat, kind of normal boat, in more 2 days until the first village. And in the territory here, if we intend to visit all villages, they have now 7 villages, you can spend more 2 days. So you need time.
Everything goes well.
Yeah, yeah. So they are the Katkina indigenous people. They are known by other indigenous group and non-indigenous people as Katukena, which means gentle people, indigenous people, but they call themselves as Takana, which means indigenous. Oh, sorry, people. They speak Katukina indigenous language, and here we have their territory. In yellow color are the villages, and the first village is Aldeia Boca do Biá, because it's in the Myrian of Biá River with Jutaí River. And this territory is more than 1 million of hectares, really kind of huge. We have different histories of occupation according to the villages, and I'm considering this for my dissertation. And also the composition of the families, the social groups, the different kinds of house, the kind of infrastructures that we have in these different villages. Okay, I'm following the Turch, the single anthropologist who worked there, and he called it 3 different regions. The lower Biá River, where we have 2 villages, middle Biá River, where we have 4 villages, and upper village, there we have Surucucu village. I went there, was a kind of adventure to arrive there. And here the illustrations of the different villages to have an idea. This one is the more distant, kind of the houses are more simple, and they are organized, we call plaza structure, with a kind of plaza in the middle. The other one is also plaza structure, but we have more, the houses now kind of different style, water structure, different things related with the Brazilian government action. And here, the 2 villages that are more close to the cities, and you can see the main difference. So I put it here, all the villages in the main differences. And I studied in 4 villages, but I also do comparison with the other different villages because I worked there. I could go visit their places. So as I told you, some of them are in dense plaza with the houses are aligned, organized, surrounding the plaza. And this we call streets village, when we have almost every street, something similar to the villages series arrangement. In the style of house, this one is more simple, and some of them don't have walls. Now they are kind of trying to use similar to the kind of seringueiros style, okay? In Katukina, in a general way, they are known as farmers people. They are kind of very skilled crop farmers. They spend most of their time there. Both men and women can go there. And they have kind of really beautiful and huge plots of cultivation. More examples, illustrations, pictures. And to have an idea of their diversity, in this picture we can see different kind of plants. Mapache, they call their kind of Amazon grape. I don't know if you know. No? Yeah. Almond pearl, abio. I don't know in English. Barudak is passion fruit. Wakak, pineapple. Tawa is cassava. Caripan is a kind of potato. Macona is cará, tuber. Chipare, banana. Canaan, sugarcane. Pioro is cashew. Nachi is corn. We don't have in this picture, but Enalba is tobacco and different other kinds. But this picture illustrates the diversity. Okay. And here some pictures of their heat ritual, and something really important, they can do the ritual according to the availability of fruits. So they need a lot of, especially pineapple and banana, in order to do their parties. You know? And here, women preparing some clothes to the party, and the men there. So they have different activities according to the gender. Women preparing to the parties. Here is, she's preparing hammock. And just to kind of to have a general idea, as Aline told you, I started to work there in 2009 in this project called Project Aldeias. And I worked for 2 years there, was conducted by the ONG OPAN, the NGO OPAN. And for me, it was really important to have this time there, because I could have an idea better for my research's objectives now during my dissertation. And I would like also to say that it's important when you are working with people to take time there to understand all the process and have kind of rapport with them, because it's something really kind of difficult to have information if you are not kind of engaged in their activities. So it's a kind of immersion in their life. And after, when I started to study here in the anthropology program, I did 2 trips. Last year, I went during 3 months. In 2016, I also went during 3 months. And something that I'm going to explain after, I try to engage it their kind of necessities, because they are learning how to write and read. And they asked me a lot of time to help in their process, especially the village more distant, because they don't have school. And I also went with 2 indigenous students from the UFOPA, Federal University of Western Pará, from different groups, and it was an amazing experience because they could exchange knowledge and also different activities. And I also tried to do activities related with this local association, Copiju. So for this chapter, my research question is, how have the Katukina established roles and relations of use, sharing, and appropriation in territories over time? So my objective is analyze Katukina relationship with territory owners, both Katukina and intangible beings, through an investigation of the evolution of space appropriation. I conducted ethnographic fieldwork, participant observation, participatory mapping, focus groups interviews. And as I expected results, I would like to have an ethnographic understanding of dynamics of Katukina practice and meaning of territorial management and ownership. And my research argument, this big one, inspired by the master domain theory by Carlos Fauston, a Brazilian anthropologist, which postulates that the lowland South American indigenous world is fully populated by owners agents. I argued that Katukina relationships are strongly interlaced with intangible beings. The owners of micro-territories can be Katukina or intangible beings, who are strongly embedded in Katukina cosmology. My research shows that Katukina framework of territory strongly incorporates gender nuance, and it reflects their social and physical interaction with territory and their constituents. The mechanism of territory regulations are particularly subordinated to gender issues, since Katukina women represent the special desire of intangible owners. The resulting limitations placed on women have the effect of restricting women's mobility and use of certain important social spaces. So based in these arguments, I start to have some kind of specific questions that are conducing my work. The first one is, who and how are there intangible beings? So as I told you, they consider this kind of animals kind of special entities, but only the shaman can see them as human. So it's a kind of transformation that I'm following Viveiros de Castro, a Brazilian anthropologist, who consider intangible beings animal agencies who have intentionality analogous as human. And Katukina consider that most of these kind of intangibles beings are men, but they can have family, they can have women and children. And their main desires is to kind of to marriage with Katukina woman. We can see in their illustrations here the intangible owners in these two situations, kind of human and also animals. There, we can see here, they kind of told me, it's a man, Myrian. Kind of be sure that they are men. And another thing that I started to verify that this kind of owners can be owners of places, micro-territories, can be owner of plants, especially concentrations of plants, like Buritizal, concentration of Buriti, Mauritia flexuosa, can be owners of fungus, animals, some elements like wind, and also owners of pari. That's really common also in different indigenous groups of America. So here we have Pan Warahi, is an intangible being, owner of some kind of beach, riving, we call remanso in Portuguese. And they are kind of controlling the resources there. So this kind of places usually have a concentration abundance of animals, so are kind of special places that Katukina have some restriction to go. Here we have plants, Wartaporo, as they call, I don't remember now which plant it is. And so there we have the intangible being. And also here, the pari, the intangible being, in this case, they represented as an animal. To have an idea about how diverse is this kind of honors, I didn't finish my results, but here I found only related with micro-territories more, almost 16 honors. Some examples, kind of beach can have honor, clay source also, some honors of plants, Buritizais, Arumanzal, as I told you, especially concentration of plants. Honors are fung, mushroom, and some animals that can have honor, and snake, tapir, mosquito, and some elements like wind and paris. Here we have 7 different paris that they kind of have a special honor. Buritizal. So in a general way, the micro-territories with a concentration of same species of plants, such as Buritizal, Mauritia flexuosa, or concentration and diversity of animals, such as black water, remanso, are extremely important and respected by Katukina. Activities of cutting of trees where the intangibles houses are located, or fishing activities in the intangibles living space, provoking them to anger. So Katukina respect because they don't want to have the intangible be anger, because if they are anger, they can kind of stole the Katukina women. And another thing also that the intangible being can provoke sickness for the Katukina. They can die because if the intangible being are angry, they can kill the Katukina. So it's a kind of integrated aspect related with ownership. And another thing really interesting that I also verified there, that this kind of territories that can be owned by intangible beings usually are natural space with no modification. I did a mistake there. And the other space, like the shifty cultivation houses or capoeira, shifty cultivation in second growth, are considered to be owned by Katukina. So it's something really interesting is this kind of difference. related with the territorial. It means that when they have more human modification, it can be owned by Katukina. Okay, so territories recently modified to do to agricultural activities tended to be perceived as Katukina property, while territories with intense natural modification, ravine, barranco, or no signal of recent modification belong to intangible beings. Here is the ravine that they showed me that is really a very dangerous place where the Pão-Alahi live. And something interesting, most of their intangible beings are different indigenous groups, but in this case, the Barajahi and Pão-Alahi can be black people and white people. Another place, really dangerous, is the backwater, usually close to the beach. You can see here. And I also asked them to develop cognitive maps to understand where we can find these kind of places that have intangible beings. So another question, really important, is why do Katukina fear intangible beings so much? As I said, because the main desire of an intangible being is to kidnap Katukina, especially women and children, in order to constitute families in their world. Intangible beings provoke grave illness to Katukina when they disrespect the being's territoriality. And many of the restrictions are related with women. In some cases, especially during the women period or during the poor period, when the women have babies, they should be at home at least 1 month. They should avoid to go to forest, even shift cultivation, because the intangible being can't feel the smell of the women. So something associated also is the capacity of the olfactory capacity of the intangible being. And during rituals, they also have some places, I will show you, that the women cannot go, should not go. And I asked many times, why you cannot go there? And the women answered, because if we go there, we will lose our hair. One of the answers related with this kind of social role. Here is the place that men go before the ritual, where they kind of prepare their special clothes. They call Hukanan, and women should not go there. They are preparing the clothes here. So the restriction related with gender. And after the Paris, they put these clothes in a special place, and only women that are not married can go there to clean the space, because the intangible being can be angry with this if the space is dirty. Okay, and here live the animals, the intangible being, the owners, that can be transformed in human. I also realized that they have kind of some protective measures to avoid conflicts with intangible beings. Related, as I told you, with accurate olfactory capacity of this kind of beings. So some of the restrictions are related with physical circumstance. As I told you, when women have babies, pregnant, or during her period. In some activities, like the fishing with timber, are poisonous, because these activities, they can feel the smell is really strong. So after they do this kind of activity, Katukina should go quickly, fast to home, to clean themselves, to avoid that the smell can be perceived by intangible beings. And also, when they are going to hunting, they told me that they should go in fact, they didn't tell me, but my indigenous student, when he went to hunt with them, he told me that suddenly they start to kind of to be naked during the hunting activity. And we realized that this is a kind of an strategy to kind of to be not felt by the intangible being. And also if they kill the animal, they cannot kind of wait a lot. They should kind of take the animal to the village because the smell is really strong and the owner of the animal can feel it and can kind of revenge. And they also do kind of physical barriers to protect themselves. This picture illustrates when we did a kind of journey to remote place. This is a beach, and they put some kind of leaves there because the intangible being cannot see them. But something really funny, I can show you, that the hamlocks are kind of more close to the forest, but me and my friend, the indigenous from another group, they put our hammock close to the beach. Kind of, we also had a function to protect them. Because if the intangible being could arrive, kind of, we were kind of yeah. So our hammock really close.
Waiting for.
Yeah. And their hammock. And it was fun because this kind of information, when you are working with cultural aspects, they cannot kind of tell. It's something that you realize with observation. And when they start to put the hammock, I was doing kind of playing with them because they are really kind of theatrical. Why are you going to put the hammock in the forest? Kind of a lot of plants in the no, because here we are protected, and there the caiman and the dolphins are gonna do. Again, we are here, kind of in the front, protecting them, and then they in the other side. So, as preliminary results, I can conclude that cat-kina relationships are strongly interlaced with intangible beings, and those entanglements are considered in questions of territory use, management, and appropriation. The mechanisms of territory regulations are particularly subordinated to gender issues, since the intangible owners wish to have cat-kina women. The intangible being owners have sharp olfactory senses, which permit them to locate cat-kina women when they are experiencing particular physical conditions often associated with scent release, for instance, periods and pregnancy, when they have babies. Besides gender restrictions, cat-kina also avoid intense territory explorations as a way to respect housing owners. These regulations contribute to their territory conservation. In a general way, cat-kina dynamic of use, ownership, sharing of territory interlace the internal beliefs of sickness healing systems, which include territory conservation. Some of these aspects are similar to Afro-Brazilian cosmology. I didn't tell you, but during the parties, they also kind of need to put some drinks, a special drink, to the owners of the parties. And this is also common in Afro-Brazilian culture. And now I'm going to talk more about my experience during the TCD practitioner experience. So I tried to engage, to be engaged and to collaborate with them, and they asked me several times to help them in their educational process. And we did a lot of activities, and they asked me to kind of organize in a special book. When I worked there through the NGO, Open NGO, they developed a kind of manual book, a cartilha, and they liked it a lot. And I think almost 8 cat-kina start to write and read it through the use of this manual book. And I asked them if we could kind of associate my research with this manual book, the new one that I'm working now, the second Katukina manual book, and I suggest them to work with something related with territory and ownership, and they liked the idea about the intangible being. They start to kind of draw the owners, tell histories, and this also helped me a lot during my research, more than I think that I could help them in this process. So the title of this activity, I'm calling What We Want for Your Research, collaborating with the Katukina indigenous people from the Amazon to create an educational manual in their native language. And they really like the idea of book that sometimes they asked me to work at night. So it's something really that they really want. And also men and women, interesting. Here we have two different villages. This one, they already have school professions going there, but they had this process for more than 10 years, almost 20 years, that Brazilian government start to kind of implement education schools, but for more than 20 years they didn't kind of learn how to fight. So now with this idea to use their own language, their aspects, cultural aspects, they are kind of more engaged because we are considering their own reality and the different aspects of education system, cultural, intercultural. So I'm trying to cooperate with them during my research. And I tried also to link this idea with my research. So the manual theme is Yohetin Guarahi, which means micro-territory owners. And the title of the manual, they chose Achoa Home, which means our land. So it's something really important to them also to represent their relation with the territory. Some activities, kind of workshops that we start to do in their villages. First, I started to to conduct my research about this kind of ownership system, territorial regulation, and gender relations. And after I started to conduct a workshop to collect this kind of oral histories. And they also drew images of their natural resource and the owners, the intangible beings owners. Okay. I also developed some activities with the local association, Copiju, and the professions. Some of them here are indigenous people, only one Katukina here, and other are different indigenous people from the region. There in the city, Jutai City, they have 7 different indigenous people, and they represented more than 2,000 indigenous people living this in single city. And here I presented something about kind of alternative education system with indigenous people. So now I'm organizing this manual book, but it's a kind of challenge because how we are going to kind of to produce material in our kind of more logic way, and how kind of to engage them in different activities, something really difficult. And I have collaboration with different indigenous students and professors who are trying to kind of to help me the organization of this manual book. And after I intend to review with Katukina, I intend to go there after my defense. And also with the delivery of the manual book, we also pretend to kind of conduct a workshop demonstrating how to use the book. So the preliminary results with this kind of engaged activity, I have been promoting through the production of this manual discussion amongst the indigenous people, researchers, indigenous associations, non-governmental agencies, and government agencies on better comprehending on Katukina use of territory, I'm in practice and providing scientific communication to an important audience, indigenous people. I'm providing an innovative opportunity for co-production of knowledge among native people and researchers in Brazil and here in the US. This activity represents an important and innovative scientific and pedagogical collaboration, and also because considered native people own voice and practice, providing integration, connection, and sharing of different cultural groups in a more appropriate manner of debate for Amazon conservation, development, education, and science. For the next steps, I also was awarded with Schmink Innovation Award. So when I finish my defense, I'm gonna conduct a workshop, kind of training with the indigenous people, not only Katkina, but most of the indigenous people, professors there. They have now 8 indigenous professors. So, and the activities that we are planning is kind of to exchange traditional knowledge and also scientific knowledge, and also to present methodological things that I developed during the OPAN project and also during my dissertation research. So I'm gonna show them different methodology like mapping, calendar, different things that we did in the research there. So some of the thematic that we are going to discuss there, and some of the tools that we are going to show them. So this is the ecological calendar that we developed during the project, the village project with the OPAN NGO. So we are going to use this material as a way to kind of to return to them, and also to show them that it's possible to mix scientific knowledge with traditional knowledge in a better way. Here they draw difference, the way that they perceive the changes in seasonality. For example, when it started to be more cold, they told me that the jaguar can, how can I say, stuha, can have a vocalization, a different vocalization. And another thing that we are developing, a project that I need to submit today, is Paneiro de Saberes. I conduct this and I planned it with Florencia Latrop, is a designer. She's also a student here in TCD program. And the idea is to interchange different technologies for the professions, kind of encourage them to use manual books and also to record their oral histories through we are calling sonori theater, the kind of auditory teleopera, that they can register and after can listen with their class. So we are going to submit it today, and I hope we can win. And acknowledges for my co-advisor here, my friends, everybody. And thank you so much.